For the past couple of years, you've been able to actively manage your cash, your emergency fund and short-term savings, and you've been able to earn an interest rate above headline inflation, CPI. Guys, those times are changing, and therefore, what should you do with your cash right now? Where should you park your cash? Where should you not park your cash? Got that and more coming up. At the time I'm recording this, my bank account, my cash reserves that I keep my emergency fund and we work a 3 bank account system. So my emergency fund and my delayed spending, basically where I keep my cash, the interest that I'm earning right now is 1% lower than 1 year ago. And I don't mean 1% like in a magnitude change. I mean 1% real, which is a 25% decline from what I was earning a year ago. You've probably experienced the same thing. Compared to 2 years ago, guys, I'm almost down 2%. And what I'm earning right now on my savings account, on my cash reserves compared to 2 years ago. And so if that's you, very frustrating. And I've shared as we've gone through this awful experiment of, surging inflation and expanding the money supply and the aftermath from that you can no longer take a passive approach to managing your cash. It is not okay to just have extra cash piling up in your checking account or even just a savings account at the bank. Those times are gone. I'm not going to share the chart with you, but back before maybe a decade ago, you could earn in your savings account or whatever a decent interest rate. Not anymore, guys, not anymore. So you need to take a more proactive approach to managing your cash. Why? Thousands of dollars. Significant amount of money in difference between being intentional with where you hold your cash, where you park your cash, and just, I guess I'll just leave it here. Thousands of dollars of difference. Right now, we are at a tipping point where we've seen interest rates. The Fed has reduced interest rates a few times last year in 2025. They say they're only going to reduce interest rates one time this year, but if headline inflation continues to stay low, or if we see any questions about the economy, there will be more and more pressure to have the Fed lower interest rates. And when they do, even though we haven't seen mortgage rates drop like a rock, we have seen the savings rates that you get on your money markets or on your cash reserve. We've seen those drop significantly. We're at a point where a lot of those interest rates are now at the same level or near those same levels as those really low interest mortgage that you may have hung on to. So you got to work with your CFP and make sure you're taking a proactive and planning approach to managing your cash. But when it comes to this unique time that we're in, that interest rates have come down, where should you be parking your cash? I look in 2 different categories. One, where should you be putting your cash reserve, your emergency fund? And then the other, where should you be putting your short-term investment dollars? Say you're in retirement or near retirement and you should have some short-term dollars in your investment portfolio. That's a different discussion. So I want to hit both. Let's first talk about cash reserve, your emergency fund. Again, it is not okay to just have those dollars in a checking account. It used to be if you had a checking account that had some gimmicks to it, if you had automatic, direct deposit and you use your debit card X number of times, you could get a juiced yield. But that juiced yield is usually only on the first 5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand, something like that. I really never loved those gimmicks, and those gimmicks have a cap to it. And because there's real inflation out there, we're all still feeling it, and it is different than headline inflation. And because interest rates on cash reserves have gone down significantly, it is not okay to leave cash reserves in a checking account or just in a savings account at the bank. Where should they have them instead? High yield money market. And yes, that's where I have mine. And yes, those interest rates have dropped significantly, but this is still the right place to hold dollars if you've got cash reserves, emergency fund type dollars that you need at your disposal. For me, those rules are, it's got to be FDIC insured, it's got to be liquid, so it's got to be accessible when you need it, and it needs to be free. After that, once you meet all three of those rules, go out and find the best interest rate possible. And yeah, it used to be 5%. A year ago it was 4. Now it's much closer to 3%, but that high yield savings account is still the right place for those dollars. If you can find a CD that is a freedom CD or no penalty CD if you break it, or if you've got a significant amount in your cash reserves, maybe you've got an emergency fund, but you're also saving up for a purchase that's going to take more than 12 months or a while, maybe you complement that with a CD. Why would I say that? Because I do expect interest rates to continue to go down over the year ahead. And if you can lock in an interest rate right now before rates continue to go down, that can make a lot of sense as well. So for your cash reserve, your emergency fund, I know it feels punishing and it feels like there's got to be something else out there, right? Wrong. High yield savings account, make sure you're diligent there, and then combine that with a CD that's lined up with when you're going to need the money. So that's your emergency fund, that's your cash reserve cash. Now, the second category is when you're approaching retirement, when you're in retirement, you should likely have some short-term cash reserve type dollars within your portfolio. Why? Those are the dollars that you're likely going to be drawing from to supplement your Social Security, to supplement your income, so that you're not needing to worry about the ups and downs of the market and whether that's going to impact your withdrawals in the short term. Typically, you need to stratify your investment so that the first 2 to 3 years or the next 2 to 3 years of money that you're going to be withdrawing from your portfolio is there in short-term instruments, these short-term cash-like instruments. And then the next chunk, the intermediate term dollars for the next 5 to 7 years or so, are in intermediate type investments. So things that maybe have some more upside or have a higher income, but have some more defined downside protection. And then the dollars that you're not going to touch for 10 plus years, those are your growth oriented dollars. That's how you should stratify your investment portfolio. So this could be a significant amount of money, depending on where you're at in the amount of money that you saved up for retirement. I mean, it could be certainly 6 figures. Where do you put that cash? First, Treasury money markets. And yes, those interest rates have come down as well. I haven't seen those come down as steeply as money markets in the bank, money market accounts. These are Treasury money market funds, okay? If you have your brokerage or your investment accounts at Schwab or Fidelity, each of them, it's not in their normal sweep account, okay? It's not in their normal sweep account. Those interest rates have come down. I've seen those at 2% or even below 2%. These are Treasury money market funds at Fidelity. This is FDRXX. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it is at Schwab, but those Treasury money market funds. And if you say, I don't really like those, or I'm not using those, or I'm at a different place, then you'd want to look to a different short-term Treasury type fund, one that is a 0 to 3 month T-bill fund. Okay, these are not recommendations. You know, I don't like giving exact tickers, and I know a lot of people ask for them, but you got to work with your certified financial planner. But I will put my toes on the line and tell you, SGov is one. That's the iShares short-term government, or V-bill is the Vanguard alternative as well. If you don't have a Treasury money market available to you within your brokerage account, those are 2 options as well. And then combine that with a Treasury or CD ladder. Okay, again, going back to this compartmentalizing buckets of money when you're approaching retirement or in retirement, if you've got 2 to 3 years worth of cash or short-term instruments available, you might have 1 year's worth in that Treasury money market or V-bill or SGov, something like that. But then maybe you've got a CD ladder or a Treasury ladder, just looking at, well, what's paying the highest interest rates. Again, with the expectation that interest rates are likely to go lower, likely, right? If they go up, that's bad news, guys. And if they drop like a rock, that's really bad news. So there's really, it's Goldilocks here. But if interest rates do decline, then locking in a Treasury or a CD, even for 1 year, and then for 2 years, can actually keep your interest rate at a high level over these next couple of years as interest rates decline. So that's the short-term cash strategy that I would use. It takes more management of cash. And I don't want to sound like that, old crotchety person, but, I remember the days when this was easy and you didn't have to put much thought to it. You didn't have to put a lot of energy towards it. You just, you were earning decent interest really wherever you went. That is not the case now, guys. And I'm saying we've left that state. The train has left that station. I don't think we ever go back there. So does it need like a lot of activity and active, like you're always focusing on it? No, but you do need to tune into it every once in a while. And better yet, if this is not your bag, your CFP should be looking at that. This is one of the reasons why they help you build that net worth statement or balance sheet. And they're looking at, as part of your present financial position, they're looking at what do you have in cash and where is it located to ensure that you're not letting dollars slip through the cracks. So work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoney.com. You can find us there as well. Or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.